Hello, welcome to my shop. Josh here, 55210. So, no long intro on this particular video. As you can see from the title, we're going to be tearing into the door and putting a new regulator in the driver door here. I don't know how helpful the tear apart portion of the video is going to be, because this one's got like self tappers in it. It's obviously degraded. There should be like spring clips that hold it in place, and this one's obviously being held on with those screws. I pulled the remaining stump off just a minute ago from the little lock piece. We got the remnant still here. So, knob for the door lock. It's kind of wedged in there and broke off the top. So not useful. Surrounds missing for my door handle pull, and no window crank. But yeah, it looks like I just need to pull that screw out and this one. And then I'm going to see if I need to pull the screws for the door handle here. But yeah, I'm going to get this set up and start going. Flat screwdriver for that one. Alright, get in here and have a look. Just two little pockets at either end with a flathead screw in it on this one. Big screws. Pretty nasty here on the back side. Fiberboard's just falling apart on the lower end. Alright, this next piece here is the door handle. I'm going to put on the window crank to roll it down. And how these things are held in place, it's got a little metal spring clip here. There's a groove on either side. Now when these doors are fully assembled, you know, they got oftentimes there's a little plastic washer piece there between the door card and the handle, so it's not just tearing up the door card with the edge as you're rotating it around. But you know, you can kind of push the card in a little bit and wedge a flat screwdriver in there and catch one of the ears for this thing. But this is actually the tool that you can do it properly with. So it's a little flat piece with an angle on it where you can put it right up next to the door and push, and it lines up perfectly in that groove. So you just push it there, and when you push through, it pops that clip off, and we'll pop the handle off of the splined shaft on your drive. So it makes it a little easier to get than just trying to use a pry bar or screwdriver. I've always used that, but over the 4th of July, my grandfather came up with a collection of tools from back when he was a GM master mechanic, and in the tools that he brought up was this thing. And I was actually pretty excited, because I'm like, I have a job that this would come in handy this coming weekend. So if you're watching, Grandpa, thank you for this tool, because I'm going to be using it today. Alright, let's show why I'm going through with this. So, cranking up, it's just freewheeling spinning. But when I was giving this a try the other day, it was, well, yeah, it's not engaged at all. When it was down a little earlier, it was like rolling down but not coming up. So I can tell the gear piece in here is all flopping around. I'll show you what's going on. It's loose and floppy. As I'm trying to spin it, I can see it just flopping around in there. So I need to pull these 4 screws out that hold the regulator in, and try and get this window down a little bit. Yeah, let's figure it out. Those look like 7/16. I'll go grab a socket and be right back. And pull off these upper window guides.
Out there.
First busted knuckle. All right. Usually when these are working, you can roll the window down a bit to bring those cross arms closer together to get them out of the track in here. This thing not being able to move is causing me a problem where I can't bring those together real easy. Click, 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 yeah. What I'm doing right now is trying to take this rear window track bolt out so I can move the whole loosened unit in here down and slide the roller here for the regulator off the end. We'll see if this works. There we go. All right. Okay. Take off the two inside track bolts. There we go. Window up. There we go. Don't let the window slam back down. There we are. Ta-da! Oh yeah. Okay. So here's the post-mortem on this window regulator. If you see these lower pieces right here, the teeth are full thickness and have the correct profile. If I, let's see if it'll even crank up that way. It will. There it is. Okay. When at the very top of its travel, these teeth are pretty much chewed completely off. They're fully gone. So, yep, this one definitely needed replaced, because you're not fixing that, you just gotta replace it. Well, there's the replacement one right next to the original. So, initial inspection shows everything looking pretty similar. Yeah, the little stop is about in the same location for its orientation. Springs. So yeah, this is the correct side and all that. So yeah, I'll get this thing fished in the door and start bolting it up. Before putting those rollers back in the tracks here, I'm going to go ahead and hit it with a wire brush and put some new lithium grease in here, just so it can run as smoothly as it possibly can. Yeah, the old stuff in here is decades old and really dry and crusty. Get in here in the corners, the wire brush, and just knock that junk out of there. Keep it from contaminating it. The new stuff down the road, just let those plastic rollers move real freely. Even though it's not a functional thing, might as well clean up the outside a little bit too. Since I know I'm going to be back in this door again, putting new glass in and all that, I'll not worry about painting it right now, because I'm probably going to pull this piece back out and paint it and all whenever I have the door part. But just get the big grime off real quick. I'm also going to grab the inner track and do that to the inner track. Yeah, I'm also going to clean up the door mounted track. So that's how this thing operates. It levers off of this track and pushes up against the track that's attached to the glass. Faster way to do this, which is a little more fun, is mount your circular wire cleaner, wire wheel on a drill press, and you just hold it up, run it along the drill press, and it'll clean it up. Satisfying. I don't really like the wire brushes that are on the bench grinders or pedestal stands, because they tend to go real fast and throw wires that wind up sticking in you. You gotta wear like a leather apron, because I've had those darn things sticking in my chest whenever I was working, and using one without the leather apron poked right through my t-shirt. So it's looking pretty good. Actually, surprisingly, the little copper inserts in there are still looking kind of shiny. Guess it's a torque limiting little pressed in, wedged in nutsert, so you can't over tighten it with the copper, because it'll flex and strip instead of deforming this piece. Interesting. Since I'm not going to be able to see it very well up in the door, I'll go ahead and hit the lithium spray in here right now. It'll be a little messier, but keep me from trying to fish in the door. As far as alignment, I'm just using the original witness marks from the old screw heads. I can see them, and that helps. If this door was fully like wire brushed and cleaned up and painted and everything, I wouldn't actually be able to see those marks anymore on the paint, and alignment would be a little harder. So I might have to go back through. That's why it's really good to take pictures when you start tearing this stuff down, or in this case video. I can see the initial alignment, and when I come back later, say if I tear the whole thing apart for painting, really clean it up, I'll know where to start for my alignment. So I think I'm gonna leave this back one a little loose, just so the screw heads aren't sticking out, and that'll give me a little more room to get that bushing started. Get it with that good grease. This is where, if you did have somebody else around, it would come in handy to hold the door glass up while you fish it in. At the moment, I do not. Starting in reverse order, I'm loading the roller that faces along the inside track in the door first. we go. Now that that's in, I lift the glass up and put the front piece through its hole, and then use the window crank to adjust it to where I can get the track back on. Get the rear track on. Just loosely. There we go. Use the crank itself to line up these bolt holes. Okay. Got the bolts started here. And just snug them up. And crank it up until I can see the front of the track on the window get up into this access hole, so I can put the nut on the stud, and then all the regulator assembly be installed. There we go. That out of the way. There, you can see the front of the track is on the stud. Just put this washer with the little locky, or the nut with a little lock washer on it. Just screw on there. With the grease on the threads of this, it actually goes on real nice. Once again, this one's got a rubber gasket against the glass. Don't tighten it so much you distort it. There we go. Snug is good. Got that one on. Got that one on. Got the roller and the track between here. These 4 bolts right there. The last 2 bits, they're putting the guide bumpers back up here where they came from. But we can do that after we run a little test and make sure the window rolls up and down. Alright. That goes up real easy. And back down. Yeah, if you wanted to, you could grease the vertical tracks that the glass goes through, but I'm not going to bother with that right now because I am planning on taking the door apart again at some point here soon. The door goes up and down real good. Just need to get these bumpers back on, little guides on the top plate here. Once again, I can see the witness mark on it from before. This one kind of came off. So then I'm going to go get a touch of super glue and pop it on there before I put it on the door. I'll be right back. Here we go. Cyanoacrylate adhesive, or super glue, is not usually what I go to for stuff, but this stuff hardens in 3 seconds, and it's a temporary fix for just getting the door back together for a short time, so I'll deal with it. There we go. Rolls up good. There we have it. Got the window regulator replaced. It goes up and down well. Now, even though the weather strip is kind of cracked out, at least when it rains, it won't just pour water in. It'll maybe trickle in a little bit, but help keep it a little dry while it's still out here in the park, the parking area, until I can get it inside one of the shops. Gonna go grab my shop vac, because while I was working in here, my hand was getting in all the compost from the leaf matter and everything that built up in the bottom of the door. That'll help save this thing from continuing to rust and rot out at the bottom. And then while I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and get in the door. Let's see if we can even see if there's enough light. Yeah, you can see the parts of the mechanism. I'm gonna replace the door locks. The car didn't come with any keys when I got it, so I need to replace them anyway. And I bought a whole lock set a couple of weeks ago when I brought the car home, just so I could get the trunk closed here. So the car didn't come with the latch mechanism or the lock, but these things are actually really easy to go in. There's just a little see if we can see it. There we go. There's a little clip that slides over the lock and retains it in a groove. The hole has 4 keyways cut in it that line with the keyways on the outside of the lock cylinder. So you just push the lock cylinder in, slide the little locking tab, just like with brake lines, holds that in place. There's a little extension that goes through the part where, and you don't have this, you just stick a screwdriver in there, and that twists and actuates it when you turn the key to open your lock. But since the close is nice. Since I already have the locks right here, I'm going to go ahead and plop those in the door while I have the door card off. So let me go get a light so we can see a little better up in there because it's dark, and a pry tool to knock the clip off that's in there, and we'll get that lock replaced. Alright, we'll walk through on how this is put together. You got this clip right here against the door skin. That holds the lock mechanism for the key in place with the door. And then there's a little clip right here on the end that holds this pawl on the arm for the latch mechanism that actually does the locking. So I'm going to actuate the little push knob that's normally on the door here, right there. I'm going to push that up and down, and you can see here's locked position, kind of rotates it up. Unlocked is down. But my kit didn't come with a new pawl, so we're going to have to salvage this to put it on the next one. So let me get my camera set up where you guys can see it, and I can also get some leverage on it, get some work, and I'll get that off. sometimes you can get the pawl to come out through the door hole with it not removed. So I'm going to try that first, because it is kind of a pain if you do have to remove it. So get this light set up in the door for you guys. There, I think you can see it now. Get in here on that. Just wiggle and it pulls out. It's just this piece. Looks just like the one that holds brake hoses in place. You should be able to push it. Out of the door, and the lock and the pawl came out too. Very good. So let's get this hardware transferred to the other piece. So my new kit comes with the gasket, the pawl retaining clip, the lock retaining clip. The original gasket here is split into a couple pieces, and it does not come with the new pawl. So I'm very glad that this is in good shape, or usable shape. So let me get this one off, and we'll get it transferred to the new lock. The way these pawl retaining clips work, there's a little tab that kind of sits down in a pocket or a hole right there, and then to help keep it from sliding out. And then there's these angled pieces that you can get a hold of to pry it out with. Now, I don't think I can do it with this pry tool. I'm going to have to get on it with my pliers. That's why they send you with a new one. They probably go bad. I'm going to get in there and try and bend this tab up or pop it off, one or the other. There we are. It's bent up. On the side. And just wiggle it there. And it's got a hole that lines up with the funky shape right here. So there's the old lock we don't need. We can kind of compare it with the new ones. See, the pawl's oriented, or the part that holds the pawl down, that little shaft, is oriented in the same way. There's the same groove hole there. The widths of the little keyway tabs are the same. So this only goes on one way. There is a left-hand door piece and a right-hand door piece for this. I'll put that one in there. Slip the lock on it. Press it down. Shove it over. There we go. There the lock pawl is installed onto the lock mechanism. We'll grab our key here. It turns well. Last thing we need to do before we stick it in the door is to put the gasket on there. So here's the gasket. It's got different size grooves in it that match up with the little tabs here. And put it on. It'll seal up against the door. And we'll put it in, keep water from getting in from the outside. And yeah, we're ready to stick this thing in the door now. Alright, time to put this in. So first thing, make sure you got the gasket on the lock cylinder before you stick it in the door. Because it stinks whenever you got the clip on it and you realize you don't have your weather seal gasket on it. Then we'll fish the pawl through the door and line it up on the little finger there coming off of it, the arm from the latch, and then hold the lock flush from the outside and compress the gasket. And we get inside the door and line the clip up with the 90-degree angle facing towards the inside of the door and the fingers rising up off the door skin. You press it on, and I like to use a little nylon hammer and just give it a couple of light taps until it seats. And there we go. Well, there's the lock mechanism installed. See it from the outside. Looks pretty good. Got the gasket on it. So next up, I'm going to get the door cards back in, get that window crank back on there, have it back as put together as it was whenever I started. Alright, so we got the lock in the door card back on, pull handle reattached, and finally gonna snap our door handle into place. And I like it when it's all the way up the forward. With this one, you just press it until it pops into the groove. There it is. So there we are. I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you for all the new subscribers for coming aboard, and a special thanks to all the OG subscribers from back in the day that helped grow the channel. I really appreciate everybody. So until next time, catch you later.